Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 13 here in the Systematic Factory. We're out here in the Oceania cluster once again, and we have been doing a little bit of work in between episodes. I finished clearing out most of this section down here, and I've been building my airflow tile roof on the oil biome all the way across. The airflow tiles are there because this water causes a lot of pressure, and airflow tiles can't get broken from water pressure. So we're putting it the whole way across. Then we're going to dig into here to collect all this water down here and pump it out so that we have no water down in our oil biome. That's the goal. We have a lot that we can do. We're in a really good position. So things are mostly sustainable. Our food is doing fine. Now that we have a deep freezer, we're just flying away with calories. We may need to look into doing a second dehydrator since they're so slow and expanding our kitchen, but we'll get to that. I plan on redoing this entire section fairly soon, so I'm not going to worry about it right now, but that is a thing. This takes, I think it's 250 seconds to run. I don't know if it shows that in here. But it's basically, if you are running a dehydrator full bore, it can only produce about 2 times a day. And since it produces 6, I mean, it's only producing 12 servings. So since I'm trying to feed 20 people, it's not quite enough to keep making more dehydrated food. It seems to be working, so I'm not sure if my math is right. But anyway, we're going to change up the whole kitchen and the food production line in a very little bit. But there's other things I want to get done first. But there's so many, we're in a position where there's so many things we can do. It's kind of hard to decide where to go because there's a lot of things I could do right now. And sometimes that's bad because it makes it so I really struggled to decide what to work on. But the main thing I decided is, let's pause this here so I can take a look at some things. We've been running on coal power almost exclusively. And so much so that we have eaten through almost all of the coal that we had. At one point we had, I think like 300 tons, and we're down to 6 tons. This is going to fail very soon. And our natural gas supplements that, but these geysers run out for a period of time pretty exclusively. So this is active 37 more cycles. This one is active for 44 more cycles. And then for a long period of time, another 40 cycles here, and I think it's another 40 here. I mean, they overlap, which means for about 40 cycles, we have no natural gas coming in. And so our power kind of slows down and shuts down. There's some pressure issues here. I'm working on fixing those too. A lot of things. We'll do some of the stuff in the background. The thing with the power, we have what we need to switch over to a petroleum-based power, which is the long-term goal. The long-term goal for, like the extremely long-term goal, is to get petroleum from our crude oil that is made with a petroleum boiler, sorry for the big pan, that is powered by this volcano. But for the short term, I have petroleum backstocked, and I have the oil refinery to make it. This is not the most efficient way to make petroleum because you take 10 kilograms of crude oil and you get 5 kilograms of petroleum back out of it. You do get a little bit of natural gas, which helps with that, but it's not very efficient, but it works. And so with this one oil refinery, I can support a couple of petroleum generators. So I'm just going to put some of them here. The other downside to petroleum generators is they off-gas carbon dioxide like the natural gas generators. But unlike the natural gas generators, they don't pipe out. They just emit into the area. And so normally I enclose them and set up pumps to pump the gas out. But for now, I'm going to put them right here specifically because that carbon dioxide will settle right down here to where the carbon skimmer is, and it will chew most of it up. We'll have to do something about the other gases, but we've been needing to do that for a while. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a petroleum generator system here that's very similar to the natural gas one. We'll set up some automation to make it run when we need it. Put down our plans here for our petroleum power plant. I'm going to set it to priority 6, so this is a focus on it, because I still have some construction plans over in the dig site, and I want them to come down here and do it. But it's a pretty simple setup. I have 4 petroleum generators that are hooked up to 2 batteries, and those 2 batteries have automation that is connecting them to the petroleum generators. We'll set those settings once we have them built. I'm actually going to change this, and I'm going to put in a tank there just so I can move some of the petroleum down here to have a reserve specifically for our power. I always like having at least a little bit set there so that I can have some uninterrupted power when I need it, and also so I can visually see that I have some ready to go. But the petroleum generators we're going to set as the #1 priority. Normally, once I get them set up in the final iteration of my power system, they just run. I don't automate them. I just turn them on and let them go. The reason for that is that they are a water positive process. The amount of water it takes to make crude oil and turn the crude oil into petroleum and feed the petroleum into them, you get more polluted water back than you need, and so you can make more oil and get more petroleum and have an excess of water. With using this oil refinery, that's not true. Since it's cut in half, we're losing water in the process, so I don't want to run it unless I need the power. But once I have the petroleum boiler set up, we'll just run them whether we need the power or not, and we'll always have power. Our batteries will always stay full, and then everything else will just be set to run if we run out of petroleum, which in the long term, hopefully that will never happen, especially because we have so much oil down here that we could feed a couple of petroleum boilers, and we just might. But so we're going to get this set up, and I'm going to get it automated so that we have power. And then what we're going to work on in this episode is this little guy right here. I'm not going to start on this one specifically, but we will get to him. These volcanoes all over our map. We have a cobalt one here. We have an iron one up here. We have an aluminum one here. And we have another cobalt one here. Those represent, once we set up some coolant on them, basically free refined metal for the rest of the time the map is here. And so I want to get them set up to produce me some nice, cool, refined metal sooner rather than later, because the sooner we get them built, the sooner we can have that metal start to stockpile. And any metal that I get refined out of these volcanoes is less that I have to find ore and smash it up into refined metal in the metal refineries. So that is a good thing for sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this one here. This is our aluminum one. I believe the aluminum one's going to be the hottest of the 3. I'm not sure. I have to get them exposed and do some math. I'll probably use a calculator. I may show you the calculator that I'm using because it's very useful. But we'll start with this one. We'll get it built together, and then I'm just going to do all 4 of them using that design. But I'm going to get this laid out and the box around it first, so that we can start getting in here, because I want to get a insulated box. So we'll build it out of obsidian, and I want to have just the 3 tiles above here, and then I'm going to need to have an aqua tuner inside here too, so I want to leave 2 spaces, and then I'm going to come across here. I guess I don't want to do it like that. Let me think about how I want to put everything here. For this one, I think I'm only going to need 1 steam turbine, but I think I'm going to set it up to do with 2, because more is better, and then if I want to, I can have the aqua tuner in here do some more cooling in the area, which is always nice. So if we're going to do that, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's enough space for the steam turbines, but I want to leave a space to put my reservoir in for our coolant as well. So let's see, if I did this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I put it like that, that would be the space for them. That would be where I put the reservoir. I want it outside of that cold room. And this would be the basic box. But what I want is a way to get in there as well. So let's open this up like this. And let's go down here, up here, down here, up here. And then that'll leave me, well, that's one short for what I want for the aqua tutor. So let's shift this all down by 1. Oops, I did that the wrong way. And then we will remove this one. That gives me space to put in that one aqua tuner that I want to do. Put this like this, and this like this. Actually, before we do that, let's do our plumbing. So we're going to remove all of these ladders across here and up here. We'll let them get that built. That's going to be our basic box. We're going to put in a liquid lock here that is a double one using petroleum so that we can create a vacuum and not allow the heat from this system to come out. And we'll fill that up and be ready to start doing some work in here. The first step is to get all of the gas out. I'm just going to go along and put a row of insulated tile there. It's not necessary, but it just will look, aesthetically, it will look better, which is always nice. Okay, so the first step, like I said, is to get a gas pump in here. And I'm just going to put it over here. I'll put it right over here for now. And then we're going to have a gas line come out. Let's actually vent it all the way up to the top here. And put this on. Because what I'm going to do is build my room for the steam turbines, because that is also going to be sealed. Like so. Oh, I don't mean to do that. And I'm actually going to get rid of this. And we'll put in a ladder to get up there. That'll do the job. Actually, no. I want this ladder to come up through the middle here. Because I want to be able to seal this off and vacuum everything out while I'm building it, and then we'll seal in the space where the ladder is once it's all set up. So we need to get some bottle emptiers in here. They're temporary, so I'm just going to make them out of whatever material because they won't be here for very long. I should have made them out of sedimentary rock since it's closer by, but it's fine. Now, we need to get power to this system, and we're going to need power both coming in and going out because the steam turbines will generate power, and we need power to run our setup in here. So what I want to do next, while that's getting built, is we're going to come down here. I'm going to first take a conductive wire bridge this line so that I can cross over it. And then we're going to take a cobalt heavy watt wire and we're going to run it all the way across the map. Well, not quite that far. And then we can do a line. Do it on the inside of that ring. We'll come up this way. And we're going to go from right here over and connect it. And so then when we're done, after we get rid of this line here, we can connect it. We'll have the power spine going all the way over the other side of the map. I like to do the power spine on both sides. So I already have it coming up this side the whole way to the top of the map and all the way to the bottom. And I have it connected there. I like to have it come over to this side so I have power over here as well. That way I don't have to have these long runs of conductive wire to the map. I can, you know, this is kind of the middle of the map, and then I can run a line to from whichever side is closer. It just makes things a little tidier, and it only costs me a run of heavy watt wire, which will get replaced with heavy watt conductive wire when I have more refined metal, which will be soon once I have all this free refined metal coming in. So the next thing I need to figure out how I want to handle is how I want the power coming in here. I want to do a vacuum locked break for that as well. So I'm going to have, let's just lay these out and get them put in so I can see where this is going. I'm going to have a steam turbine like this. Oh, I have ladders in the way. Deconstruct buildings like so. But I'm going to have a steam turbine that's going to go here, and then I'm going to flip one and put another one here, just so that the powers are close, or the pumping is together, so I can just have one vent coming from them. I don't think I'm going to need two. And then I will have a liquid reservoir right here. I think I'm going to need one more space on this wall. Let's bring this down. And let's go obsidian like this. And then this. I won't need it, but let's put a door in here. I can't until that ladder's gone. But so I think that means I'll be able to put in, we can put in a joint plate like this. And I'll leave it, I'll remove this one temporarily. We'll put in another joint plate like this. And I'm using heavy watt conductive ones because I don't want to have to go back in here later. I don't want to use that material for the long run because I'll replace it later. But this one, I don't want to have to break into here because once I'm done, there's going to be a vacuum inside here. I've done this before, but that way heat won't transfer from here to here. And in this case, it'll be cooling. Won't transfer from here to there. Okay, so that'll be good. That means we need another tile here. We're going to put a door in right here. And this door is not really necessary. It's just going to be kind of aesthetic, but it'll also mean that if I don't want anyone coming in here, I can restrict this door. So like if, like let's say the metal is still cooling down while I'm working on it, I can just make it so the dupes can't come in here to grab it. And that means that I won't have to worry about them having problems with that. Okay, so that's there. The next thing I need to set up is to have a power transformer, and we're going to set them up on this side of the wire. We'll connect a wire to that. We'll need some tiles underneath it for it to sit on. And then we'll run a power line. So we'll need a conductive wire bridge to jump that. And we'll do some wiring like so. We're going to come right in here like this. Let's do a lead to there, and then I'm going to switch this to steel, because even though this wire is temporary for this, it's going to be there for the aqua tuner. And that way I won't forget to switch it out for steel later on. While I waited for some of the gases to get pumped out and things, I did some work up here in our base, mostly just to do some rooms. I added in a spice grinder here in the kitchen. I don't plan on using it, but and having this as a kitchen, the only thing it does is makes it so the spice grinder works. And I don't intend to use the spice grinder, but it does make a pretty yellow room. So that's cool. I also redesigned the Great Hall a little bit. First of all, I got tired of seeing the message, I don't remember exactly how it says it, but it's the unreachable food, basically. And the reason it was happening is because our duplicants can only eat the surf and turf or the frost burgers. The only way they can reach them is through the rehydrator, because all the rest of them are stored away in this deep freeze that can only be reached by the auto sweepers. And so there are times when I have as many as 4 people on a shift. So they're all trying to eat at the same time, and I had 2 rehydrators. So when those 2 were being used, and the other 2 were trying to get food, and they couldn't access them, it was saying unreachable food. That's what it says, unreachable food. So now I have 4 rehydrators in here. So as long as I don't have more than 4 people trying to eat at the same time, it will always keep them stocked with enough food. One thing I wish that they would do, and they might at some point, I wish I could assign a type of food for these, because right now, every one of these is stocked with surf and turf. And in here, I have quite a bit, I do have a lot of surf and turf, but I also have some dried frost burgers. And so I would like it to prioritize certain things in certain ones. And I guess I could do it by putting a different storage bin for each one and have it so that this auto sweeper could only reach those, but it'd be nice if you could filter these. Maybe they'll change that in the future. The last thing I did is I turned this into a rec room. I gotta work on temperatures, because it stopped being a rec room as soon as that. I guess it still works, even if the plant's wilted. But, rec room is right here next to the Great Hall, so when they're on their break, after they're done eating, they can go in here. I put in an arcade cabinet, a jukebot, and a party line phone to help them have some things to do on their downtime. Which means I won't have a bunch of duplicants hanging out here at my little critter stash. So, it's cool. I do plan on redesigning and moving all of this stuff soon, so it was just kind of temporary. Last thing I want to show you here, I don't think I showed it before. I stole this layout for my Atmosuit refilling off of Reddit somewhere. I don't remember where. I saw it a long time ago. If I can find a link to it, I will link that in the video description. But I'm sure you can find this if you wanted to read it. I don't think that this is really super efficient. I think that running one line into half of these suits and half one into the other one would be just as fine. They would fill just as fast. What this does allow is 2 lines of full oxygen to go into the whole system, and it prioritizes the front door, and it goes to the back at the end. So any empty spaces in our system will start refilling from the front and go all the way to the back. It also has kept me from having any spots that ran out of oxygen at all since I installed it. And it just looks very slick and neat. Every other way I've ever done this, it looks like a big mess of spaghetti wires. The gas pipes are just everywhere, and I don't like that. So, this fixes it. Back down to our volcano. We're mostly done down here. A couple things I need to do. One, I need to close this off. So let's do that a while. We're going to put a tile here, and I'm just going to build in tiles to push all this hydrogen gas out of the way and create a vacuum in there rather than pumping it out. It'll just be quicker and easier. We can get rid of some of these excess lines from old systems that we removed. So the coolant loop here is pretty simple. I have a loop that goes from here, it goes down in through the aqua tuner, it goes back up. This sets it to 20 degrees. If it's over 20 degrees, it cools it off. Simple. Seen that before. It then comes through and it cools off our steam turbines. What I added was this on the end. There's a loop here, and this cold pipe goes through these metal tiles that are gold. At the same time, I have a loop made from shipping rails, steel ones, that goes through that metal tile. So what we need to do, we're going to have to get a steel sweeper. I'm going to put it right here, because then it can reach everything. And then I need a steel conveyor loader. Let me think where I want to place this. I'm going to put it, it needs to be steel, I'm going to put it right there. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to bridge onto this line. That way if the line is full, we're okay. This is also steel, that's good. Then we need a steel line to connect those. We need some power lines in here. Also, we want them to be steel since this is a hot room. Power to there, power to there. So what happens here is we'll set this for aluminum. It'll pick up the aluminum that's formed here on the floor in the steam room. It'll load it onto this loop. This sensor, we're going to set it to 20. Actually, let's set it to 25 degrees. 25 degrees is good. It's going to loop the materials through here at 25 until it hits 25 degrees. And when it comes through and it says 25 degrees, this shutter will shut off, will turn on, and it will send it out. And we're going to have a conveyor chute right here that drops it off. And so our duplicants will, instead of grabbing this aluminum, they'll grab the aluminum out here. And the way we're going to do that, let me finish doing this room real quick. What we're going to do is, once we make this a vacuum, we're going to replace these two tiles with a door. And we're going to set it to not allow access in. That way, if we want to have somebody go in there to do some maintenance, we can open the door to them. But for normal purposes, they won't be able to travel through. And that means that they won't be able to go in and access this aluminum. They'll only be able to grab it from here. And that means they'll only get cold aluminum. And that's our plan. I know I have somebody trapped in there, but I'm going to do this real quick. And then we'll let them back out. So let's set this to priority 9. Amy, you're just going to have to chill out in that really hot room. I'm sorry. For now, let's turn this on to refined metal aluminum. So it's going to pick up the aluminum. Aluminum's going to loop through. Like I said, it's not cold enough because the aluminum's at 280 degrees. It'll come down through here. And it's coming in at 280 degrees. And when it's coming back out, it's down to 53 degrees because it has exchanged heat with those metal tiles. This will cool them back down. And it will continue to loop until it gets down to 25 degrees. Come on, somebody come and fill in this tile so that I can let Amy out. I just want to get that hydrogen out of there. I want a vacuum in here. Because then I don't even have to worry about temperatures in here anymore because there will be no way for it to exchange. So let's put in a door right here. Just because we can, we'll power it up so they can get through it quickly. And then the last thing we need to do is put in a conveyor chute right here. So let's take a look at our metals. Our metals are coming through. They're still at 48 degrees. They're coming in here now at 54. They're coming out at 46. This loop is now at 58 degrees. And it is cooling this down, but it needs more time to cool it back down. So if we check out our temperatures, everything's a little warm, but as it goes, it'll cool down. And the worst case scenario is this will take a long time to cool down, but it will cool this down while the volcano is not active, and then eventually all of this aluminum will cool down, and we'll get nice cold aluminum out here with full access for our duplicants to pick up and take and do whatever they want with, build things and all that. The reason that I started with this aluminum one is because I want to get as much of that as I can, because I'm going to use that in my petroleum boiler, and that's going to allow us to make a pretty small petroleum boiler, and that's going to come up in a future episode. But let's check this again. Let's see where we're at. Still at 46. So it will take it a while to cool down, but it will definitely cool down. I could let it out at 50 degrees because that'd be fine to build with, but I like the idea of having 25-degree metals, and we can definitely do it. It's just going to take time to do all that. Oh, I closed all this off while I still had sweep orders in there. I'm just going to have to deal with the granite up there. Honestly, I'll probably do something off camera and get somebody in there to clean it up, because it'll drive me crazy, but we're not going to worry about it for right now. Let's get this built just so that I can have everything working and say that this is done. The really nice thing is this system will work for any volcano, because we have 2 steam turbines. We don't need 2 steam turbines for this volcano. One of them would have done the job, even with the aqua tuna in there. But this will handle any system, any volcano that you come across that's a metal volcano. This will cool down the metal and provide it to you. It'll take some time, but it'll work. And this thing gives us an average output of 283 grams of aluminum a second, average over its lifetime. So you can see we already have aluminum coming out here. Oh, why is it giving me aluminum? I had this set wrong. Oh no. As soon as it had a place to go, it let it out because I had set to above. That's okay, it's loading up more aluminum. What I'm going to do, just because I'm a perfectionist here, I'm going to move this to here. I'm going to make this move. Priority 9. Get that back in there. I want it to be back in so it can cool down. But so any aluminum that's in here will get loaded onto the rail. The rail will cool it down, and once it reaches a cold temperature, it will come out here and drop off into our pile, and we'll be able to access the aluminum. And like I said, this loop will continue to cool everything back down as it heats up, and just keep on going forever. It's all nice and tidy all in one system. So yeah, we'll be able to use this and just copy and paste this system over our other volcanoes. So I'm going to do that in between episodes. We'll get it built up on all of our volcanoes. And we have, just to remind you, I have a cobalt one here. I have an iron one here. I have another cobalt one here. And that's just on this planetoid. Once we get to the other ones, I'm sure we'll have other ones. We can build the same system, and we will have all the refined metal we could ever ask for. So I hope you enjoyed watching this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.